Good morning, everybody. So, Matthew, this morning we're going to talk a little bit about a topic we've talked about before, but a question came up, so we're coming back to it. And it had to do with narcissistic personalities, people who have displayed over the course of their lifetime a strong desire to have everything about them. It has to be about them. They cannot see beyond them. It is only my perspective, my point of view, and I cannot accept that you are not doing what I need you to do. I have needs. It's not likes or wants. I have needs, and you need to meet them because I deserve better than that. Okay, so if I triggered anybody, I'm so sorry. I did tell you it was going to be about narcissistic. And again, I'm being really harsh. Some people who are narcissistic are very skillful at, I can't believe you're not willing to come over for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. It's not like I'm not asking for a lot. I mean, okay, so there we go. That may be another trigger for other folks. So I mean, again, it's a pattern of this. And then the person starts developing a dementia on top of this. No. And for some people, they've worked out a strategy and a barrier pattern and a boundary pattern prior to dementia and how to handle it. Some people never really figured it out and have always felt overwhelmed by the person that they're in a relationship with. And now we have dementia on top of it. And the human being in the care support role doesn't feel like they really have an option to just say, not my circus, not my monkey, I am not going to get involved in this because I've done it before and I've been so burned and I can't allow that. So my title of, how do you feel about self-preservation? I mean, really recognizing for some situations, you really do have to recognize the boundary needs to be way distant because there has been so much trauma, so much drama, so much history that I cannot be your care partner. I just cannot. It's not possible for the two of us because I will lose me. And we don't need two people, again, being traumatized this. But, for some people, we have to establish boundaries that are possibly more intense, more distant. We have to sometimes do things that feel super uncomfortable. We got to get support for it. We've got to determine that I can't be the rescuer of you. I can't. Because if I do that, it turns out I get sucked back into a relationship that's not healthy for either of us. So, Matthew, I know in your career you have undoubtedly run across some folks who had both dementia and had a long history of narcissistic behaviors and relationships. Do you have some thoughts about boundaries and setting boundaries? Because it happens professionally as well. It's not like it's just family.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. I think one of the biggest things that I've recognized over time, and you're bringing this up too, Teepa, is that idea of the person who had been the closest to
Mm,
and that relationship versus the relationship with everybody else. So I feel like in these situations, often what would happen is
mhm.
we as a professional working with this person would see a totally different side of them. Or as brain change comes in, sometimes this person would change enough or be different enough to where when the one who had the relationship, the daughter, the son, the wife, the husband would come to visit and would see how different they were, they'd be like, well, you have no idea how they really were. This is not them. They are pulling a ruse on you. They are trying to manipulate you. But the immediate jump to how quickly that
Yeah.
person, because of that relationship and all the things that happened. And as a professional, the key piece of staying curious, because how easy it can be sometimes to make assumptions
Mhm.
and side with one party and that not being helpful at all either. And
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
tricky. It can be really tricky when you're on the outside coming into something that has been years and years and years of this.
Yeah, and I think in facilities, particularly, one thing that, in my experience, folks with a history of narcissistic personality trait are actually still, interestingly enough, even with dementia in many areas, still pretty skillful at is pitting one group against
Mhm.
another or one individual against another, and getting people to side up.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, and then people start having opinions rather than staying curious.
Mhm.
Setting boundaries is I can see you between 9 and 12. If you can't get here before 12, I'm going to give you some prompts to get here before 12 that I think are reasonable prompts. And that's my reasonable prompts, not your reasonable prompts. Knowing what I know about your ability to pick up on visual cues and auditory cues and physical cues, I'm going to give you a reasonable prompting support. And then if you choose to come at 1, my boundary is I hate it. Our agreement was from 9 to 12. Well, that's the first. I understand that this is really hard, but for right now, I have 2 other people that I'm seeing, and I am so sorry.
Mhm.
Um, nope, the gym isn't a place to stay. And then I've got to be willing at that point to either move everybody out of the gym as they scream bloody murder, because I'm not doing the thing that, and they are letting everybody know what a horrible person I am.
Mhm.
Or, I mean, so I've got to have plans and we've got to have an agreement among everyone involved in this. Because again, it seems reasonable. I mean, well, Teepa said I could come down. And it's like, ooh, that's really rough. And this is where this gets really, really frustrating, if you've ever been in it, because it's incredible how skillful people can remain. But at the same time, it can also be not skillful anymore, really sloppy and really poorly done. But the person doesn't recognize it. And everybody else is like, what does she think she's doing? It's like, well, she's trying to use the skill she used to have, but now she's not as skillful.
I think, and Teepa bringing up that point too, this idea of, so as a therapist coming in or trying to partner with somebody who could be living with this, or is this is their part of their personality, often in the therapy side of things, that's where we may see more of the multiple refusals, and then we discharge them because they're not being compliant. They're not being compliant. They're not
Yeah.
being
They're not
agreeable.
making progress. They're
There's always,
plateaued. They're
yeah,
not choosing to participate. 3 refusals, you're done on Medicare. Yeah.
always something, always a reason why they can't do something because it's not when they want it or how they want it, or and
Yep.
so we could see that on when it comes to people
Yep.
coming in trying to provide a service or provide support, multiple refusals or the lack of that support happening because it's not matching exactly when the person wants it. And on the side of the healthcare professional, we don't if we don't get we don't get training how to, like,
Yeah.
as you recognize that, okay, what are some ways, what are some things I
Yeah.
can do here to really set those boundaries as you're talking?
Right.
How can
And
I
how
do
do I structure the environment? I mean, using my 5 Ps, how do I prepare and then initiate in ways that reduce the risk or the probability that they have that level of control?
Yeah.
I actually don't present that level of opportunity because when I do, I have a really, I know what's going to happen. And after I figure that out, it's like, huh, okay. So instead, I'm gonna slide in this way and see if I can get something to be supportive of that individual, so that their deep-rooted personality trait doesn't interfere with their ability to receive the service they need because of their combination of possibly dementia and status post-hip fracture, their combination of dementia and not being mobile, their combination, go down the laundry list. Um, Here's the other side, which didn't occur to me until we started talking, is couples. Because sometimes the person living with dementia is not the person with the narcissistic personality. It could be the care person, the caregiver, family member, a spouse is very common mode, where somebody needs to take, you're not doing it right. That's not how you, I mean, and so that spousal sort of challenge to everything that's happening, and the person living with dementia being really trapped in a situation that isn't good for them, isn't good for their brain, isn't good for their body, isn't good for their life. And yet they had been in that relationship with a person for a long time. And so everybody's like, well, dad's always given in to mom. Dad's always done what mom said. I mean, it's always been like that. Dad has always been, and now we feel really bad now that he has. I mean, this thing of being so self and so unable to see other need, when we observe it, when we experience it, it is so, for those of us who are not in that, like we're like give, we really want to support, we're very flexible, it really is hard for us to firm up those boundaries and to not be flexible, because, and we keep thinking, well, but, and it's like, no, there is no well, but if you flex it all, oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is that adage of give an inch, take a mile.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
this
Yeah.
place for that actually comes in.
Yeah.
And dementia can just make that more, or it can actually reduce it. And we have to be open to both.
Yeah.
But we need to all be on the same page. And it is super hard if this has never been addressed before. And I think that's the biggest challenge with our current generation. These issues have often never been addressed communally. It is super common for someone who has been in a narcissistic relationship to have sought counseling and gotten counseling and established boundaries, because it's about survival. But now we get into this situation and people can very quickly, there's a vacuum cleaner and they just get sucked right back in. So there's not a one size fits all answer. What I would say is I'd go back to the book, one of them. Oh, let's see. Here it is. First is get some basic understanding of the changing brain. Let's sort of figure out what's going on with the dementia.
Yeah.
That's important for us as we're moving into this potential role. And the other one is really noticing when is enough, and having to really be very thoughtful about self, because you have value too. And one of the tricks in a narcissistic situation is one is not more important than the other. There's equal, there has to be balance. And it may be that there needs to be a middle ground, a middle person, a middle situation where there's more distance, time, place, situation, so that what's best or better for each is being addressed. All right, everybody. Thanks for the question. Sorry it's occurring. And yet, as we say, it is what it is. The question is, what are we going to do with it? So thanks for bringing it forward. All right, everybody. Till next time, take care of yourselves. Take care with your care. Be well.
Thank you, Teepa. Bye, everybody.